3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is Ignacy from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Buonocore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 226, and we are recording it on February 2nd, 2022. That's 2/2/22. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And beside cats, Tom Vassell doesn't like groundhogs either. I'm just letting everybody know. Happy Groundhog Day, Ignacy. I bet in Poland, not only do you not have groundhogs, you do not celebrate Groundhog Day. Is that correct?
Sir, you're absolutely right. I have no clue what you're talking about.
No, you do know about Groundhog Day, don't you? There was a movie, right? Did you see the movie Groundhog Day? It's one of the most classic comedy movies ever. Never saw this?
With Bill Murray?
Yes, with Bill Murray.
Yes.
Did you understand? Well,
I understand the concept of the movie. I didn't know that this is a real life thing and not just a movie thing.
No, it's every year for 100 and I just watched it, literally. I only watched it because I happen to be on the news that I was watching. In this place called Puxatawney, Pennsylvania, some small little town in Pennsylvania, they created this thing called Groundhog Day, where they bring a groundhog out. That's a big fat rat. It's a furry animal. They bring him out, and if the groundhog sees its shadow, then we have 6 more weeks of winter, snow and cold weather. If not, then spring will start soon. It's a legend. Obviously, it's not true. And these bunch of guys in top hats looking like they're from the 1800s, they're out there trying to listen to what the groundhog is saying or thinking. It's a completely nonsense thing that this silly town started 100-something years ago, and now people do watch it. And of course, they made a movie about it for no reason other than, it was a really funny idea to do it.
I have so many comments in my head right now that I'll just shut up.
Just say you are a bunch of dumb Americans, and I will agree. I'll say it for you, Ignacy. Now that I've told all the Europeans about silly American traditions, tell us about what's happening at Portal Games.
We continue our January process of revealing new titles and new surprises for our fans. We are now in February, but this week we announced another new thing, and this new thing is Moloch Monthly. Moloch Monthly is a monthly magazine about board games. It is a free magazine. You can download it from our website, portalgamesus.com. The first issue has about 40 pages, and you have there interviews with designers. You have some game designer journals. You have the news section. You have the board game quiz, all different various stuff. So if you love your board games, and if you love your magazines and your newspapers, and you would like to read some good newspaper and good magazine about board games, here I am to save you. Moloch Monthly, download for free, portalgamesus.com. And in the editorial, in the magazine, and I do it here as well, I encourage all of you to join my team of writers, editors, illustrators. This is for free from fans, from geeks, to fans and to geeks. So if you have a blog, if you like to write, if you have some ideas for the magazine, reach me. You will find my email in this magazine. And I can very, very proudly, and I'm super happy, announce that after we released this first issue, 2 days later, we are here today. And I already had a couple of people who reached me. They want to be in the team, who want to contribute to the magazine. So who knows, maybe in a couple of months, this will be like a really, really big thing for all the board gamers. So we started small, but I'm very proud.
I think that's amazing. And I wait for my invitation to be interviewed for your magazine.
That would be a good idea to have some interesting, fun interview in the magazine. So it will happen some point for sure. And on a serious note, guys, download, it's for free. You will have some fun read. And if you like to contribute to such a project, reach me and you will be in my team. It's gonna be fun. My brag of the week, I don't know if you saw it. Z Garcia and the rest of the gang did their annual top games of all time. They do it every year. And my game Empires of the North made it to the top 10 best games of all time, according to Z Garcia. It was on the number 10. I'm very proud. Thank you, Z, for enjoying this game. I designed this game with my developer, Jana Kijanka. But it is not the rest of the great news, because on the number 1, the best game of all time, ever, 51st State from Ignacy Trzewiczek. So I had my 2 games in the top 10 from Z Garcia. I'm very proud, very happy. Greetings to Z. Greetings to all of you who play the game, who love the game, who talk about this game on social media. I always say it helps to promote the game. And we had a nice moment. The video was posted on a weekend, and when on Monday we came to work, all my team was discussing that we won, and number 1 was 51st State.
And Z has promised to teach me and play with me 51st State, because I've actually never played, because it came up in conversation when I was there. Oh no, on Board Game Breakfast, it just came up in conversation. I forgot if it was on the air or between the segments. And he said, and I never played and I actually own it. And he's like, oh, it's my favorite game. I want to play with it. I'm like, yeah, we're going to make that happen. So I will play it soon with Z Garcia.
Awesome. I'm very happy. Pre-orders and street dates. Gutenberg still on pre-order. The release is in March, so very, very soon, guys. If you want to grab the free shipping and 2 promos, you need to hurry up, because we'll be shipping this baby to you in March. And then 51st State Ultimate Edition is on GameFound. The project starts in February, so you can go to GameFound and click the follow button to get additional faction. And what can I say? Can it be any better timing to have a campaign for 51st State 2 weeks after Z Garcia said it is the best game of all time? I was
that is pretty
lucky.
Funny. You got really lucky.
So of course it was not planned, but it was like ridiculously the best timing ever. We got right after the Z and the team released their video. We had more than additional 1,000 followers on the project just after this one video. So I thank Z and the rest of the team. As I said, a super lucky coincidence. And what's happening at HQ? We are, of course, working on our new games. As all our fans know, the sequel for Dune is scheduled for this year. So we are writing, we are debating, we are arguing lots of creation here in the office. And this week, I'm closing my experiment, the 100 vlogs for 100 days. Today, I recorded the almost last episode, because the last is tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm recording the last episode of this crazy idea of the 100 vlogs in 100 days. I really did 98 episodes as for today. Super lots of work, but very, very fun experiment. Guess what? My channel didn't explode. I don't know why.
You must have got a few more listeners and watches, but not as many as hopefully you'd want.
Yeah,
sorry.
But it was, of course, a fun time, and I appreciate all of you who were watching, commenting, liking. It was quite a crazy ride. So as you see, things are happening. I'm releasing a board game magazine. I was chosen as a top designer of all time by Z Garcia because of 51st State. I have my games on GameFound. It's a good beginning of the year. How is your disaster with renovation?
We'll get to that in a second, but let's talk first about gaming. And I mentioned last week that we had started the Gloomhaven online campaign. That's Tom Vassell and Rod Phelps and I. It was part of the Kickstarter, the Dice Towers Kickstarter. They hit the stretch goal, so we're doing this. We've now recorded like 4 scenarios, 5 maybe, and we're going to start releasing. Tom is going to start releasing them probably after Dice Tower West. So you're gonna have to wait until at least late February or early March to start seeing these. But I highly recommend checking them out if you're a fan of Gloomhaven, if you're a fan of the Dice Tower, if you're a fan of me and nonsense that Tom and I will go. So we're on the same party, of course, but we're like doing things and yelling at each other, and it's it's like a very dysfunctional party, and you'll be surprised at who went down an evil route during this campaign, during the which characters wanted to do bad things versus which characters wanted to do good things. Well, we'll see. Just check it out. Might surprise you. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? in our party.
Do you know how long this episode will be? Are they doing some post-production, like making them shorter, long? Like, do you know the final result of the episode, or
I
not
do
yet?
not know the final result, though I'm sure there'll be one scenario per episode. That
Okay.
pretty sure about. So I would say like each one will be like an hour, give or
Okay.
take, right? It takes about an hour when you're playing online without cleaning up and all that kind of stuff. Gloomhaven, it's about an hour per scenario, a little longer if you're playing the physical game because you get the cards, you got to shuffle and this, all that's taken care of you 100%. Obviously the online interface. I am having problems a little bit getting used to the online interface. So in the beginning, I'm going to be ugly, terrible with clicking things, but
after 18th, 9th episode, you will be smooth.
I'll be smooth at some point. So I've got to, this is going to roll into the remodeling thing, but I got to play a couple of 2-player games with Paula, 2 from Herr Dr. Knizia, old school Battle Line and Lost Cities. Sometimes you go back and you look at these old games that got you into the hobby. Literally, these are the kind of games that got me into this hobby in like around the year 2000, 1999, maybe, I think Lost Cities comes from. Just brilliant, simple, short 2-player games. Pulled them off the shelf and said, let's game, Paula, and put it on our new game table, which rolls me into the remodeling.
Oh, drum roll.
It looks epic. So I got the Game Theory Origins table is what it's called. It arrived this week after a little bit of setup. It literally is the best looking game table I've ever seen. And I'm not saying it because it's my game table. I saw this thing in Vegas. That's why I ordered it. I said, oh my God, this is great. It's going to be perfect for my gaming space. And it is. It is amazing. I'll do videos on it. I'm going to promote this thing, not because I'm getting any money, because I love it. And I think any gamer who's ready to buy one, it's not cheap, of course. You can go for the lowest kind of configuration, and it's not too bad. If you're going to add the table toppers, if you're going to add chairs, if you're going to add a bench to put the table toppers in, it's going to start racking up cost. But base model, you can get pretty cheap. I'll have all that information. I'm going to start doing a video on that probably sometime late in February. Also,
I think that if they ship to Poland, we can offer them 7 years of the free ad at Board Games Insider in exchange for the table to Poland. Just saying.
Maybe you should contact them. I paid full price for mine. I mean, my discount was the discount that anybody was getting at that time.
I work in marketing. I always do deals. So I offer the free ad for 7 years.
There you go. And we can do that if you'd like. I also mentioned, I think last week, that I got this Infinity table by Arcade One Up. It's so cool. And I just so some people came over to see the remodeling. My brother came over with his wife. He hadn't seen it. He only spends half his time in Florida. So he was over. He came over and I specifically put the blackjack game up. He's a big gambler. So I put that on the table and he was like, oh my God, I could play this all day. So that's just the one game. Having fun just playing with it. I beat it in chess, which made me happy because I'm not a good chess player, but I was able to beat it in the middle level. So I got to now ratchet it up to see if I can beat it in higher levels. Probably I will not. But everything now is 100% complete the way we want it on the first floor, including all the furniture and everything is there. Just the smallest touches to complete. Second floor, not as good. We still have all the doors still waiting on. And that's basically it, though. I mean, once we get the doors in and they install them, we are done. And of course, as I also mentioned, my outside barbecue is done and my fire pit is up. So you're going to start hearing a lot less about remodeling soon because it's almost all good news, Ignacy. Almost all good news. Sorry.
You can always start a new adventure. You can always start a new project, and we all keep fingers crossed that you will have some great idea that will ruin your life for the next 1 year.
We actually are going to the next project, but we'll talk about that. There's slightly smaller projects. Nothing could be bigger than what we've just done. So we'll get to those when we get to those. The next trips I'm doing, I've mentioned already, the Dice Tower Cruise is coming up in under 2 weeks from this recording. I can't wait. Gosh, I can't wait to be back in like that kind of adventure because cruises are like adventures, right? I mean, you're there on the high seas and you're going to see exotic places and and I get to hang out with the gamers and friends that I haven't seen in years. So that's happening real soon. Dice Tower West is the first week in March. I'll be there. I hope to see a lot of our listeners there. Please come up to me and say, hey, love the podcast, or let's hang out, let's play a game, let's have a drink, whatever the case is. Gonna have fun. Then the next thing, I'm doing another cruise at the end of March on the Wonder of the Seas, which is the newest and largest cruise ship in the world. Can't wait. After that, we'll see. Ignacy, let's go to the event deck. So you threw something really quickly in here, and it was good that you did, because I had forgotten to put it in here. It didn't get reported in most of the media because it's not as big an event as other events, but this is Con, the gaming con, not the film con.
I would strongly disagree with you.
No, I know that. Let me rephrase. It is a huge event. It's not a huge event for the English-speaking world. How's that?
Now
okay?
I agree.
Okay,
now I agree.
And I apologize to all the French listeners, all 5 of them. So Cannes Games Festival, not to be confused with the Cannes Film Festival, which is actually tremendously big in filming across all languages. It happens every year. And Asmodee has said that they will not be participating this year in the film festival. The health and safety of our employees, partners, and players remains our priority in view of the current epidemic peak in France and around the world, which has led abroad to the cancellation of the Nuremberg International Fair and the New York Toy Fair. Asmodee and its studios will therefore not be able to attend the Cannes Games Festival in 2022. We are eagerly hoping that the situation will return to normal as soon as possible, and that we can return to meeting our enthusiastic fans and friends in the next edition. So again, do you know the exact dates that this was going to be held, Ignacy?
It's it's now in February. I don't remember the exact date, but this is this month's event. It is always at the very beginning of the year. It is the moment when they give the Game of the Year in France. Super important award. It's one of these awards that really matters for sales. So it's a big event, and I put it here in this show notes. You mentioned, yes, this is not maybe interesting for the American audience, but it may show the teaser for the strategy for Asmodee for this convention season. Like if they decided to not go to the biggest French convention, that means that in these buildings of Asmodee, the skyscrapers, they are debating the whole year, right?
Absolutely. It tips their hand, as I guess you would say, right? In poker or in card games. I'm not sure that this is 100% going to mean they're not going to make Origins or they're not going to make Gen Con.
But this is still on the table. Like now we can see that they can consider, like, because the last year they say in 2021 we passed from the conventions because of the safety. Right. Now it's 2022, and the first news from Asmodee is once again we pass in France. I'm not saying that they are saying we pass for Germany and pass for Indianapolis Gen Con, but at least this is on the table. It is possible.
Yeah, it is absolutely possible. And it is telling. It's interesting. I guess Con is going on, though, right? I mean, we should absolutely see what's happening. Let's report on this. I think it would be great if we get some more news, report on it on one of the next couple of shows to see what the situation was there, what the attendance was versus previous years, and how it all worked out. And guess what, folks? We have no other news. It's been a light news week. Let's get right to strategy and tactics. So we have Chris Anderson, who's at Blue Cube Board Games. He says, I've been listening to the podcast since episode 1 and really appreciate all the behind the scenes business info you give, as well as your personalities on the show. It's always informative and entertaining. Thank you, Chris. I have a news item and related question. News. The Board Games Workshop's 4th annual design contest is looking for judges and accepting submissions. Anyone who enjoys board games can be a judge, and the commitment is only judging a single submission, which takes about 10 minutes for designers and contest feedback. Okay, thank you. And he wanted to know if we wanted to be judges. If I only need 10 minutes of my time, I will absolutely, Chris, reach out to me. Find me, Messenger.
It's 10 minutes by prototype, and they have 7,000 prototypes. So it may take a little bit longer, but
Oh, no, but I only need to judge a single submission, which takes 10 minutes. That's what it says. So
Okay.
I will do a single. I will commit to doing 2, maybe 3, in fact, Chris. You can reach out to me. I would love to help you out if I can. His question is, do you think that board game design contests have any value to publishers? I've always thought that the deadlines contests impose and the feedback they generate are great for designers, but I'm curious if you think there are any other benefit when it comes to getting a game published. So Ignacy, why don't you go first? I mean, if you see that a game has won or came in third or something in a game design contest, does that help you as a publisher?
Yes. So, it helps designer when they are submitting prototypes to the publisher to say, this is my game. I already won this contest that publisher never heard about, but still this game won something. So at least I get more attention to this prototype. So it definitely helps you break the first ice reaching the publisher. Of course, later in some marketing, the publisher will use this, that this game, this prototype won some, but this is not important. Let's face for the average gamer who is buying this game in some game store in Tennessee, they never heard about this contest, so it doesn't matter. But of course, publisher will try to make some noise and make some traffic around that. But the most important for you guys, and this is for you important, for designers, if you win the contest, it will be so much easier for you to get attention from the publisher. And this is what you're aiming for.
Absolutely. That is the main takeaway from what you just said, Ignacy. You'll get that much closer to getting your foot in the door with the publisher if you've got this little badge. Now, if that little badge is like Joe's design contest, maybe not so much. But if it's like, you know, Protospiel, I mean, there's a lot of game design contests that have some weight. They have some magnitude, at least. They may not be the Spiel des Jahres, but they've got something. And if you win one of those or come in very well in that, you really have the publisher like, oh, that's interesting. Well, somebody thought it was good. Let me take a look at it. So
I was judged for the contest for the prototypes in Italy. I was a guest of the convention and I was judging. And that was very interesting initiative. That one of the Italian publishers was a sponsor of this contest, but the award was that they will produce this winning prototype in a small number, and each year they indeed are producing a small game from this contest. It is very nice, and then this publisher has designer has the game published in a small print run, and then he can hope for the start of his career. So this is also very nice.
For years, Indie Boards and Cards, right, the sister company of Stronghold Games, ran the contest at Geekway to the West, which is a major regional convention, over 3,000 people, and that's the award. If you win the contest, they publish your game. Perfect. Fantastic thing to do. Obviously, and then they give the game away to all the people the year after, and of course it goes out into distribution as well. It's a really cool thing that obviously I participated in a little bit. I wasn't doing the judging. We had other people doing the judging there, but really a lot of fun. Vincenzo Alvarello, good friend of mine from Minnesota. He's at Zacco Soldier. He asks, a major streaming service comes to you with a dump truck full of money. Netflix, please pull up at my door to make a show inspired by a board game or by the hobby. The only thing they say is you can't use games that are based on a non-game IP. That are based on a non-game. Can't make it. You can't. The only thing they say is you can't use games that are based on a non-game IP. Oh, so like you can't use something like a Tolkien game, right, or Game of Thrones. I guess that's what he's saying here. So, Ignacy, what game would you make into a streaming TV show if you had the ability to do so?
Of course, the answer must be party games. They would do a great shows. I personally absolutely love Time's Up, and that would be a great show. Come on, it would be a great show. I know that on Twitch there's so many streams of code names played. Here in Polish TV, by the way, in Polish TV we had a TV show that was very similar to Time's Up, and the people who were playing, they were celebrities, like the actors, musicians, and it was very popular. Seeing all these celebrities making fun of themselves presenting a title. So I would go for the great party game with celebrities.
Nah, it's boring. Boring. It's only a streaming service. We're Netflix. They got lots of money, big production. Now let's do a game. Let's do Terraforming Mars, the TV series. Come on. I mean, it's you would be doing red Mars, blue Mars, green Mars, right? The book series by
Kim Stanley Robinson.
Kim Stanley Robinson. That's what you would be doing. I think that would make a phenomenal TV series. Multi-seasons. You can do one season per book there or better. So I want that. I don't want any more game shows. Yeah, game shows. I mean, you're right. Those are fun too. But
they're fun. Yeah, they're fun.
Yes. Jeff McDonald. Hello, gents. He's at M_Jeff. Been listening since episode 1. My favorite parts are Slavic Ignacy, which balances the carefree Steven. I like it. I also enjoy board game business updates. Sorry, Ignacy. Questions. One for Ignacy. Congrats on your recent successful launch of Robinson Crusoe on GameFound. Do you think your campaign could have been more successful if you used Kickstarter instead? What swayed you to do GameFound? Was it worth the switch? Go ahead.
For sure, we were more successful than on Kickstarter with GameFound because, as I said quite openly about the GameFound, along with the contract, I had a chance to negotiate the support from the team of GameFound. So we had a ton of advices and consultations when we were designing this campaign. So this value was much bigger than actually bigger traffic on Kickstarter. So what Kickstarter offers me, a bigger traffic. There's more people on this page every single day. GameFound is not there yet, but the value of the wisdom, of the knowledge, of the experience, I thought it is a bigger, and I think I was right. How much I learned and this knowledge stayed with me, so I can now use it for the upcoming campaigns.
How much? Sorry, how much did you do on GameFound for that? Was it over $1 million, right? What was your total?
Yep. Do
you remember the total? Whatever, $1.5 million?
Right,
wow, that's okay.
I don't
but
remember.
A lot. You did a lot.
It was huge. It was huge number, and it was much more than we predicted. And it was because they were with us every single day saying, Ignacy, change this update. Ignacy, now in the update said this. Ignacy, change this artwork. Like they were constantly every single day giving me a briefing of what we can do better.
Good.
And we were just fixing, we were just updating, upgrading. And now I know so much more about running successful Kickstarter, GameFound, whatever. So yes, I value this a lot.
Very, very good. His question too is sort of, to me, I think a little bit more. It's like, what type of games would you like to see from an indigenous board game insider, a Native American, I assume where he's going, or I guess indigenous to whatever area. Would you guys like to see indigenous people just make games, or would you like to see them make culturally specific games? If so, what type of cultural topics would you like to see? So I'll take this first. I want diversity, period, in the industry, right? We want diversity in the industry. We want everyone to be represented. We want everybody to be welcomed and welcoming to everybody. So I would love a Native American in the case of America to make board games, to design board games, period. Now, having said that, there are very few games about the Native American culture. Very few. The last one that I remember, but it was controversial because of some things that were in the game, was called Manitoba. It was published out by a European company. And there was controversies based on a few things in the game, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point is, there are very few of these games about the Native American culture, and I would love to see more of those. If it's done by a Native American, that's even better. They certainly know the culture a lot better than I do, or most publishers do. So yes, and all these things. Ignacy?
It's complicated. So on the one hand, I would definitely, for me, because I don't have a big knowledge about the either native people from Africa, native Americans. Like I don't know this, I don't have this big knowledge. So having a game about these cultures and their myths and the culture, it's like a whole new world for me to discover. So I would love to play them. But I would not say that if you are a Native American designer, please design only games about that. No,
Sure.
do steampunk, do
Yeah.
cyberpunk,
Yes.
do whatever you want. But if you love to present your culture, I would definitely dig in because it's a fascinating topic that I have no knowledge about them. So absolutely, I would play such a games, but I would not say if you're a Native American, just do games about only this topic. No, do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew Williams, who's at Pat Andrew, he asks, as a Star Trek fan, there seem to be very good Star Trek games. What do you think is the reason, and what do you think would make a good Star Trek game? He's right. I mean, there are very few good games based on this major IP. The best one is probably Star Trek Expeditions. There's another one out there Andrew Parks did, and I just, sorry, can't remember it. Maybe that was it. But there's not a lot, Ignacy, right? The one that's based on like the miniatures.
X-Wing, but Star Trek.
Is there X-Wing Star Trek now? Is there? Okay. Well, the X-Wing system is certainly great. That's cool. Why? Why do you think we've had so few good games based on Star Trek and many based on other, pretty good ones? IP games are always just harder to pull off for a number of reasons, because some people just want so much of the IP and some people just want like a great game. So is this like weird balancing act by how much IP specific stuff you do, how close it ties in to making a great game.
I think that outside America, Star Trek IP is absolutely not as strong as you might think.
Okay.
In America, there was a TV show.
Yep.
Am I right? Correct. So it was lots of episodes, lots of series. It wasn't aired in Europe. At least not in such a number like in America. Here in Poland, of course, I know what's Star Trek, but I haven't seen the show. It was not in Polish TV. So Star Wars is a theater movie. So everywhere people went to the cinema and watched the movie in the cinemas, and we all became fascinated with this vision. But the Star Trek was a TV show, and not all televisions in Europe were showing that. So for me, Star Trek, I know it because I'm a geek, but I haven't seen a single episode, or maybe I saw 2 or 3.
That's astonishing that you just said that. Star Trek was like 5 TV series on regular broadcast TV.
I have this knowledge, but in Poland, no. Absolutely.
Plus more on streaming, 2 more at least on streaming, plus more coming on streaming, plus about 10 movies. But I get it. It doesn't have the penetration that a Star Wars has, right? Which is so interesting and kind of sad. And if you ask me, Steven, are you a bigger Star Trek or Star Wars fan? I'm a bigger Star Trek fan. I without a doubt.
Yeah, I think it's much. And for me, it's not even a question. Like, I don't know Star Trek.
You just don't know it. It's a deeper series. It's a more intellectual series. I know I'm going to get yelled at for that. There's more. They do much more moral challenges and things like that. So very different. They're very different. They've never played in each other's sandbox. So Andrew,
the one thing that was good with the Star Trek, there was this amazing comedy movie called Galaxy Quest that was inspired by Star Trek, and it is a ridiculously funny movie.
Galaxy Quest is amazing, and there's also the one it's just the name of the name of the ship that they're on, the Orion. No, oh sorry, I'm total fail. It's now they had 2 seasons, and now it's going to be on the Sci-Fi Channel or on one of these other streaming.
I think that I know what you're talking about.
And it's by a comedy, the guy who did like South Park, the voice guy, and I feel so bad. Now everyone's going to mock me.
Don't worry, we are now at this very moment we are entertaining our listeners. Like
that's right.
So much fun.
Buonocore trying to get it out of his head. The Orion, the origin. That's what I don't know. I'm going to remember it as soon as I shut off this series. But anyway, that is a comedy series with also like serious things that go on. It's so good. some people say it's one of the best Star Trek series ever, which is sort of bad on some of the other Star Trek series. But anyway, I'll post this in our forums because I'm an idiot. As soon as I get off of this, I'll figure it out. Anyway, let's take another question, and maybe at some point I can look it up, and then I'll say it at the end of the episode. Anyway, Michael Kramarczak.
Not Kramika. Why are you doing that?
What's his name?
Michał Kramarczyk.
Oh, thank you very much. He's at Cromer Whiskey. I'm sorry, Michał.
This is our longtime fan. He loves Portal Games since 1999. He's from very beginning with Portal Games.
He's awesome. I love him, and I love his question. It's really silly and funny. A bit tricky mathematical question. I'm asking this question on the 28th of April, 2021. How many years or months would it take to get to this question? And the answer is it only took 10 months, not even April, February, March, April. It only took 9.5 months. So guess what? That means we are running out of questions. We're going to have a major question thing. You know, we're going to have a new one of our getting question episodes soon.
I must say, I love this question. It's really smart.
Yeah, only 9.5 months. That's a pretty good one. Sometimes we were like over 2 years behind at the beginning. So everybody start posting more questions, or you're probably going to wait until we give away something, but post some more questions. Don't worry. We'll get to them in less than 9 months. In the meantime, let's get to playtesting.
At this very point, Steven recognized that he forgot to come up with this question, but don't worry, he will come with this question in the upcoming few seconds. In the meantime, I will read the best answers from you.
Oh my God, I did forget I didn't put my new question down here.
This is the best show that you are going to today.
Because I was late today and I didn't, oh my goodness. So I have to come up with a question in the meantime. So why don't you read, so last week, you had the question. You're so happy with yourself. He's so happy that I screwed up. The question from last week, which was Ignacy's question. He says, "What's your favorite villain in DC Comics?" So Ignacy, without being such a jerk, why don't you tell people what the best answers were, and I will try to pick out more questions that were Steven's.
So first of all, the most answers were Joker and Riddler. Definitely two most popular villains that you were picking, and there was a couple of answers from you that you say, I'm a Marvel guy, I don't know DC, but Joker. So Joker is so popular that even people who don't read the DC comics recognize him. I picked, as always, 3 questions that the answers that I liked. The first one is from Kirk, and he said Catwoman. And he said, although she's rather complicated, as an occasion, she's aligned herself with the good guys. Perhaps that is what I find so compelling about her. She's not just the typical evil bandit like so many others of the DC pantheon of villains. And this is a great point. And this is why, as you guys know, the press release about my game, Batman Everybody Lies, Catwoman is one of the characters that players can play and be ally with Batman. So when we were doing research and preparing for the game, and we were debating with DC which characters we want to pick, and I was pushing very strong on Catwoman. I said Catwoman is so amazing character to play, and they were not sure if this is a good pick, and I was pushing, and yes, now Catwoman is one of the characters in the game. So I'm very proud that I made it happen. The other answer is from Matthew. Matthew said, the Riddler gave Batman the chance to show his intellect and detective side. And it is always satisfying to see someone who fancies himself the smartest person in the room get outmatched. And is absolutely true. Riddler is a great character. And when we are designing detective games, Riddler is one of the places to go. So at some point with our Batman games, you will meet Riddler, because absolutely, if you like escape rooms, if you like all these puzzles in the games, Riddler is the best choice. And Mike said the Joker is my favorite, in particular Heath Ledger portrayal in Dark Knight, and I picked this answer so because that was insane. That was and my wife Mary doesn't watch any superhero movies, so no Marvel, no DC, but I said, Mary, this one movie. Please watch it with me, just for the sake of Heath Ledger performance, and she watched it and she loved that. So yes, even if my wife is not watching superhero movies, this one she watched because of the Heath Ledger. So I absolutely agree here.
So thank you for doing that while I put my question down here for this week. But I want to also mention that last night I watched The Suicide Squad, which is the new one by that same name. Why would they make two movies with basically the same name? The one from 3 years ago was called Suicide Squad, and this one was The Suicide Squad. It's from last year, I think. It's from 2021. Yep. It was released.
Yep.
And it is really good, funny. It's sort of it's you get all the misfits, Harley Quinn and all these misfits that are out there doing a suicide mission for Amanda Waller, which is kind of, we're protecting America, we're protecting the world. And of course, sometimes their motives are less than admirable. It was really good. And I was told to watch that movie because the show on Netflix called Peacemaker is supposed to be fantastic. And Peacemaker is in
one of the characters,
the Suicide Squad. So now Paula and I will start watching Peacemaker on Netflix, which is supposed to be great. So I highly recommend definitely the Suicide Squad. Funny take on super air quote heroes, and then going into Peacemaker on Netflix as well. So my question to you, which I came up with on the fly really quickly. Now you know how well I think on my feet. No, I don't. The Orville. I just got it. The show I was talking about is called The Orville. Can't recommend that show enough. It's like it's Star Trek without being Star Trek. Watch The Orville, the 2 seasons, and they're gonna have a new season. See, thinking on my feet, Ignacy. Oh.
I would love if Matthew Jude, our editor, now counts how many minutes you needed to get this name.
All I had to say, thinking on my feet, and it just went into my head. I knew it started with an O. Oh my God, I suck. My question to you all this week is, we like to use things from, that we talked about recently on the show, and this is from today. Will all or most of the Asmodee companies like Days of Wonder, Catan Studio, FFG, etc., be this year at Origins, Gen Con, Essen Spiel? Those are in fact, you know what? I'll even add, I know Ignacy's probably doing this already. Let's be fair and say UK Games Expo, right? I think I picked the top 4 largest ones at that point. Ignacy, first, of course, what do you think? Will they make these shows?
No.
None of them. You're saying they will be at none of these shows this year. Wow.
I think that we reported that Asmodee is doing very well, and they discovered that they can run business without going to shows.
That's an amazing. You should have predicted that, because it's a bold but very possible prediction. So I'm going to say that Asmodee as a company will not be at Origins. They will not be at the UKGE, but they will make Gen Con and the Essen Spiel. And that's with zero inside knowledge. I probably could reach out and ask some people what the current feeling is. I will not do so. It's going to be interesting to see. So there's a little prediction for everybody to make on their own. Ignacy right now is going to create a thread in our guild on Board Game Geek for you to predict with this question. Please go to our guild on Board Game Geek, find the play testing thread for this question, and post your answer to it or your prediction, right? We like predictions. It's so much fun. Yep.
By the way, our guild is one of right now is one of the absolutely the biggest guilds on Board Game Geek. So I want to thank everyone.
Is
There's
it true?
Ton of people. Yeah.
So it's funny. I tried to look because there's literally under podcasts, there must be 400. Some of them have like 2 members.
Yes.
And some of them have 20,000 members, like the Dice Tower. I couldn't, there was no way to sort it to see like, well, how big are we?
I was just going one by one, checking, and we are in the top 5 or top 3, like very, very strong. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you, everybody, for being listeners to us. And this year, we're going to push hard to get you guys to vote for us for Podcast of the Year on BGG. But in the meantime, let's go to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or now watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. We are that pretty. You do want to look at us. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. And to answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to the guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like our pages. Ignacy's page is /PortalGamesUS and mine is /PodfatherGaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter and Instagram, it's at Portal Games US and at Podfather Gaming. On YouTube, Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. On TikTok, only Ignacy, Portal Games US. We very much hope to see you at an upcoming convention in 2022. And if you do see one of us, please come up and say hello. We love that interaction. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast, also one of the best podcasts out there. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email him at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, that great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, we come to the end. Anything special? Anything you want to report? Any news you want to give? Now is your time.
I had a great master and I was well thought. So yes, I have something. Something ends, something begins. Check Portal Games YouTube for a surprise. And this references me closing my vlog, but maybe something else will happen.
Ooh.
Mystery.
By the time that this posts, will that be on there?
Yes. Yes.
So, okay. So everyone's going to be listening to this at sometime after is February 9th. So if you go there on February 9th or later, you're going to see something big surprise on the Portal Games YouTube channel. That's Portal Games Gameplays or Portal Games. Which one is it? Portal Games Movies or Portal Games Gameplays?
I have no clue. They need to figure out.
Look at both of them. Look at both and find the big surprise. Wow. I don't even know what it's going to be. I can't wait. Ignacy, thank you. Everybody out there, thank you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.